Well, why don't we install the clock too? We installed the tach, we removed the factory clock, and my top piece is broken, so why don't we make another modification to the old Volvo? So, I pilfered stuff from the junkyard, that's kind of how I roll. So, one of the cars in the yard I found had the auxiliary clock and the auxiliary bezel. So I snagged everything minus the wiring harness because I didn't realize that was a necessity at that point, but no biggie. I made my own. Just 3 wires. No problem. I'm going to show you how to install this bad boy today. Right up in there. Let's get to it. So the first thing, like installing the tach, we want to do is pop these bad boys out. Like I said, my top one was already broken, so half the work is done. Next part, pull these knobs off. Basically same process as removing the cluster because, well, we're probably going to have to remove the cluster somewhat. That's fine. Center your wheel. Get it parallel. Oh, skipped a step. How could I be so careless? Pull this out, your dimmer and your headlight switch. Now you have freedom to pull your cluster out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my junkyard parts. And let me see if I can get you guys some light. These are part of the installation. It's like a little rubber pad. Let me show you what to do with these. So you see these little channels here. Channel here, channel here, channel here. That's where these little rubber pads come in. You line up the groove. And slide them in. Same for this top. Line up that groove. There's a little T slot there. 3 of them. Bingo, bango, bongo. Put them in there. Next, you're going to want to get your clock. What I'm going to do is I'm going to snake the wires in through this hole first. And rather than you watch me fumble through that, I'm going to do it off camera and then turn the camera back on. Well, here we are. Got the clock wires fed through that top hole. Again, you could see my homebrew harness because I was in a hurry and I cut the harness out. So what we're going to do is take the clock. On the bottom here has a little black notch, a little nib sticking out. That centers itself in that notch right there. Ease it in. You can kind of see that notch going into the corresponding notch on the bottom, and then push it in. And then you got your wiring right here. And then what I'm going to do with that wiring is I'm going to run it behind the cluster and bring it over here behind the tach. Let me show you guys that. Okay, well, you can see my wiring that I brought over to the tach side. Now, looking at the back of the tach here, you have these 3 spade terminals. That's where your hookups are. You're going to hook the, well, in my case, well, I shouldn't say, the factory colors are green, which would be this first one here on the outside. Middle one would be red, and then black. My colors are a little different because I didn't keep the stock wiring, but it's going to do the same thing. So let me get these plugged in and I'll show you what that looks like. And just like that, I have the wires from the clock plugged into the back of the tach. Can you see them? Can you see them? There they are. So now all we're going to do, gingerly work those back down in. I didn't unplug a single thing from the back of the cluster. And I'm going to put these little pads back in. 1 and 2, and that other one's in there. And then we'll rotate it to get the notch lined up, as you can see. And the notch is lined up. Yes, maybe so. And then slide the clock all the way back in. And at that point, we should be set. And we just take our bezel here, factory bezel. And if you look at the two larger tangs on the outside, this tang and this tang, they go into this hole and this hole and snip right in. So try not to break them. Pop that guy in and pop this guy in. Bam. Bam. Got a working clock now. Let's see if anything happens. Turn the radio down a little bit. Oh. Now, I don't know what... Actually, I could tell you what time it is. Whoops. Sorry about that. It is 4:50. So we'll push this little thingamabob in. Oh, 3, 4. Get this bad boy to 50. Ooh, 450. Bam. Should be set now. I guess I'll give it a few minutes and see if we progress. Cool. I've got a tack and a clock. Factory. Thanks, guys. Again, if you have any questions, comment down below. Ask any questions you need. Like my video, comment on my video, subscribe, turn notifications on. I'll keep trying to crank out these little old school Volvo tricks and modifications. Nothing like factory stuff though, in my opinion. Cool stuff. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. And just like that, guys, we have a working clock again. Awesome. Thanks again.